Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the Torgo Entertainment YouTube channel. Torgo here. Welcome back to another gig log, and welcome back to another wedding.
Guys, name the city, if you will, please. Is it Jodhpur, Tashkent, or Tehran? Remember the clues that we heard. 2,000-year-old city, former trading center between Europe, China, India, and the Middle East, and in Uzbekistan. Okay, everybody's ready. Kamala, we'll start with you. What do you say?
I said Tashkent.
Tashkent. What do you think, Jamil?
I said Tehran.
Tehran. What do you think, Felicia?
I said Tashkent.
Tashkent. The answer we're looking for is Tashkent. Nice job, ladies. Okay.
Before we start with the gig log proper, I want to address a couple things. First off, I saw on a couple different other DJs' gig log videos that some people had expressed concern about how there weren't as many videos coming out if people were giving up on YouTube, and how the content stream has dried up, if you will. I can't speak for other people. This year is certainly lighter than the past couple of years have been. I know a lot of people got tired of COVID and just said, screw it, we're getting married no matter what in 2021 and 2022. And obviously with the economy, entertainment's always the first thing to get cut from certain events. So this is a lighter year for me. It's not my worst year, but it's not great. And I'm sure that that is true for other people in this industry. So I would say, take it easy on various content creators, because a lot of us are struggling right now. I hesitate to use the word struggle because, I'm doing fine. I'm fortunate enough where I have a day job that has, health insurance and everything. So I'm doing fine. Don't worry about me. Save your money. Do not donate anything to me. There are plenty of other causes. Do that, please. I beg you. And secondly, I've mentioned in the past that I served as moderator for the subreddit r/mobiledj, a resource for a lot of DJs to, share playlists, or in actuality, just ask what is the best equipment to use. I have a gig in 3 days. I just started. I have resigned from that and from Reddit as a whole. By the time this video comes out, I should have deleted my account. There's a lot of chicanery going on with Reddit right now regarding API use, and I'm not going to bore you with all the details. You're smart. You're on the internet. You can read it on your own time. That website is going in a direction I do not feel works with my use for it. So rather than cling on to my non-existent, barely there internet points that don't matter, I've decided to just leave the website. It's a distraction. That's all it was there for. So I have left that. If you are still interested in such a community, they are continuing on with new staff. We had a hiring process. So I say hiring process, nobody gets paid to do it. But that is something going on as well. For those of you who care about that, all like 4 of you. For everybody else, the reason why you tuned into this video, today we celebrate the wedding of Mike and Amira. This wedding is a subcontracted wedding through All Star Weddings. They actually called me when Phil and I were on our way back from the wedding we did on September 10th of last year. I remember that, so it was a September 11th call, and I remember that vividly well because what Mike and Amira had wanted was Uzbek music at this wedding, because that is Amira's heritage. Now, as long as I know well ahead of time what songs you want, great, because it's extremely difficult to know what music works for different cultures when you get into the more esoteric cultures. Spanish language stuff, there's enough Spanish language people in the world, especially in the United States. You can kind of figure it out from pop culture osmosis. Uzbek, former Soviet states, a little more difficult, especially when the characters they use in the language are not the same as English. I don't know about you, my Cyrillic is kind of on the weak side, so you'll hear some stuff there. We ended up getting some music choices there, but today we head to the lodge at Saratoga Casino. Let's go to the map and show you exactly where that is, and it's 3.5 hours away. Now, it says 3.5 hours, but it's the summer, and I've driven enough in upstate New York to know construction will be prevalent. So while it is 3.5 hours away, and I don't need to be there until 2 o'clock, I'm going to leave here by 9:30. It is currently 9:05. Fortunately, I had the chance early last month in May to check out the venue, which I like to do with venues that I've never been to before, so let's case the joint.
I thought you said the library was closed, Frank.
This is what they call casing.
Being in Saratoga Springs, they have a lot of different events here, so when I got the chance to visit, they were set up for a corporate event. And obviously, the tables, the speakers, the TV, it's going to be completely different in here. I like the floor, though, quite a bit. So just taking a look around, it's a very nice-sized tent, but the DJ gets put right around where all these tables and bar equipment usually go. Fortunately, they have easy-to-access power. They have this giant strip right behind. The cables are a little looser than I would like. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. And the building directly across the way is where cocktail hour will take place. So the load-in isn't too bad. Obviously, I have to drive up next to the building and, hoof it, but I've dealt with much worse load-ins in the past, so I don't really care about that. And if you look past the vehicles, if you look in that field past that wooden fence, that's where the ceremony will take place, weather permitting. So they'll have chairs set up there, and they'll be coming out from the building out into the field. So that's quite a ways of a walk for an aisle for a ceremony, in my opinion. And inside the lodge itself, they have this bar area, and naturally this is where cocktail hour will take place. So they have 2 stories to deal with, and the woman who showed me around said that this corner is probably the best place for a speaker, so that's what I'm planning on doing, just a Bose S1 Pro on top of a speaker stand. I don't know what that equipment is, and I actually can't stay long because they have guests coming soon.
As you saw, we have 3 DJ setups at this wedding: outdoor ceremony, indoor cocktail hour, outdoor reception under the big tent. So if the weather stays nice, then it's gonna be a lovely day. The forecast, however, has other plans. There's supposed to be a lot of rain, not just today, but for the next week or so. And it's been a dry summer so far, so that kind of makes sense. Reception I'm not too worried about because it's got the large tent, but ceremony? I'm curious how that's going to play out if it should rain between now and the 5 o'clock start time. This is the first wedding in over 6 months now where I have to actually bring the separate ceremony setup. Remember those 2 weddings I had back in April, one of them was just cocktail hour and reception, and the other one I didn't have to do anything for the ceremony. So I have to have the 3 setups, which is fine. Cocktail hour will have the tablet, which is the Bluetooth connection to one of my Bose S1 Pro speakers, and the reception is just what it is. No uplighting, but I am bringing the Ape Labs Stick 2.0 XLs, so you get to see those in action at a wedding for once. And I'm curious how that'll look on camera, because with 8 stick lights in total, 4 steel rods, 2 lights on each rod, it looks great in person, but I always worry on camera how it appears. These look like they don't emit that much light, and I think that might be due to some of the editing that I do in post, since I've actually done a little bit more with the video editing this year in terms of color correction and whatnot, just because the lights are quite bright, and I don't want them washing out the picture, so you can see what's going on. But it should be a good time. Besides the Uzbek music, which is really only a 20-minute segment of the entire wedding, Mike and Amira were very hands-off with what music they wanted. The ceremony, entirely my choice. Processional, recessional, everything, I had to choose. Entrances, I got to choose. Except for them coming into the Business by Tiesto, fine. And the first part of the wedding party will be coming into Serious by the Alan Parsons Project. They told me that they want to have kind of a mid-90s Chicago Bulls style entrance for the wedding party. I'm not a sports person. I kind of vaguely remember this era of basketball. So I looked it up. There's a lot of yelling, so I'm a little concerned about my voice being able to do that. I've been able to manipulate my voice in various interesting ways on other channels I've had on the internet, some of you know. So I'm curious how well it's gonna hold up. It's gonna be very sore. I have lozenges ready to go just in case. But I hope you're ready for this one. This is a solo wedding for me. It's a little unfortunate, especially with this distance, but what can you do? Gig logs are back, and we have a nice little tear for a couple weeks where you get a couple more videos. Let's go!
That is an unfortunate shade of green of the grass when Google Maps took this image, but I have it zoomed out just a hair to show you that Saratoga Springs is obviously known for horse racing, and they're a huge tourist destination in June, especially with the Jazz Festival. You may recall when I had a wedding last year on this weekend. However, I'm nice and far removed enough from all of those festivities, so traffic wasn't too much of a problem once I actually arrived, besides the rain. And the reception will be in that white tent, which is where this green star is located, and due to the rain they actually moved the ceremony there as well, so we don't have to worry about that at all, even though they had the chairs set up when I got there. That was a little worrisome. And the cocktail hour will still take place in the lodge proper. So let's fade on over and show you the gear. So I'll start this footage inside the bar area for cocktail. They're taking a bunch of photos downstairs, and I decided to have the speaker on the second floor because they had about 90 people at this wedding, and it was going to completely fill up the bar area, especially with the rain being intermittent outside. You can see they're taking photos. Hi Mike, hi Amira. So that was the plan, just have the speaker up there. It sounded great. Here's the outside. Yeah, the weather wasn't agreeing, and when I drove in, the first thing I saw were all these chairs outside, and I was like, oh good God, I hope they don't. They didn't. They just never moved the chairs. They decided to move the ceremony, as I had mentioned, inside the tent. But I had to load in all this rain, so that was a whole bunch of fun. You can see all the chairs set up. They will reposition everything for reception. But here I have my Ape Labs sticks. I have them off to the side. I wanted to brighten the ceremony area just a little bit, but not have it so harsh like fluorescent lights can be. Here we have my Infinity DJ board. You've seen this before in the past couple gig logs. The Bose F1 speaker system. We have, the subwoofers and the 12-inch tops. And I was hesitant to tape anything on the floor because I tested it and it didn't look very good. Anti-fatigue mat, the Allendale Defender. We have the water supply, which Rachel loves. The Roland DJ 808 controller. We have, the Shure ULXD microphone rig inside. We have the the Samsung Odyssey Z laptop running virtual DJ, the clipboard with the itinerary, the Ape Labs Connect app on my tablet. We have my Shure ULXD microphones. That is a Limo 3 connection with the Sennheiser microphone itself, and there is the back of the speaker. There's the Ape Labs Connect router. We have the Furman power conditioner. See, I taped a little bit, and there is my battery, my Yeti power converter, just in case. We only have time for one more thing, and it is time to level up. So I'll show you this. This is the back side of the tent. And here's where the power connects. I put another one of my Defenders here just to prevent drippage. And it connects right there. Let's go.
By the power vested in me by the state of New York, I now pronounce you husband and wife. It is my extreme honor and privilege to present to you for the first time Mr. and Mrs. Michael and Amira Lazara.
You may not know this about me because you have no idea who I am, but I used to be my high school football announcer when I was actually still in high school, so I'm going a little old school with how I used to do things, so bear with me for just a moment. And now, the starting lineup for your wedding party! Take Key! The pair in the middle, keep it going, Brittany McNair and Mike Nadell! Next up, a pair of power forwards. Make some noise for Allison Roth and Yusuf Afalabi! Now, if you recall, the Bulls back in the 90s, they would always say at the very end, kind of half-assed, like, the head coach is Phil Jackson. And that's kind of lame. So we're going to give a little more pomp and circumstance because the parents are kind of filling in as the coach role for our wedding party. So I want you to make some noise for Amira's parents, Nodira, Nurlaiva, and Mahmoud Ishakov. And not to be outdone, we have Mike's parents, Nancy and Mark Lazara! Next up I have what I like to call the VIPs. Very important people to our newlyweds, bringing the party in the only way they know how, the maid of honor, Indira Mutazaeva, and best man, Kyle Metzler! For your newlyweds, Amira and Michael Lazara! And give it up for your newlyweds one more time, everyone. So that means that we have nothing but dance floor time for the last 2 hours. So what I want is everybody to come up and have a good time. That's why Mike has you here. That's why Amira has you here. Yusuf, you know if you request this, you have to come out and do it. Yes, I'm putting you on the spot.
And unfortunately, that's going to wrap things up for me here. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out and celebrating with us. But before I let you go, I want to hear one more huge round of applause for your newlyweds, Mike and Amira, Mr. and Mrs. Lazara.
Huh?
Oh, broken thermostat. We'll be friends. And I'm back. The morning after, I'm in a hotel room in Albany, 30 minutes away from the venue, 3 hours away from home. I hate filming in hotel rooms because the lighting is always so weird in here. So yeah, that wedding went very well, despite the humidity being crazy. The rain actually stopped right around 5 o'clock, right around when the ceremony was gonna happen. But if you've done weddings outdoors before, you know exactly what happened. It got hot, it got sticky, and a lot of the guests were very uncomfortable. They loved being inside during the cocktail hour, but then they had to be pulled back out at 6:30, and that humidity did not let up at all. And you saw that when it came to actual dance floor time, there were some pockets where it was very, very good. But because it was so hot and because the humidity was so high, there was a lull here and there. The biggest portion of the dance floor is when we had the American sides and the Russian/Uzbek sides come together. Amira had come out in her traditional dress, and Mike had on a traditional robe as well. And they played some traditional Uzbek and Russian music, which, let me tell you what, that was super fun to try and find. And they originally wanted like 20 minutes of that, but when I got into the 4th song, everybody just kind of spread out. And it's very difficult because there's a huge language barrier. Like, the room was pretty much split between Mike's side and Amira's side, like right down the middle. And then one side would dance and then the other side would dance. And then eventually I was just like, you know what? Stuff for the older crowd's not working. I remember one of the moms came up and was like, no one's dancing right now, please shout, my friends love shout. And then 2 people hit the dance floor for shout. I was like, well, you've had your chance. So I catered to the younger crowd for the rest of the night. And again, it got darker as well. These outdoor weddings, sometimes it's not very conducive for people to want to dance when it's so bright out. It's not always the case, but sometimes it is. And they did warn me that it was gonna be not quite as party-hardy of a crowd. A lot of talking, a lot of drinking. We had like 90 people, you know, you need as many people as you can get. But it ended up working out great, and they had a great time. I was thrown for a loop. I did not know we were gonna have a sparkler send-off until the day before. But the photographer and videographer had left by that point, so I'm the only one that has any documentation of that happening, so hooray! This is the first wedding where I've ever received text message song requests. One of the family members somehow got my phone number and was requesting me songs during dinner, like every 45 seconds. Play this, now play this. Cut off this song and play this song. I'm just like, okay. A playlist will be at the tail end of this video. As always, I'm going to warn you right now, when it comes to the Romanization, Anglicization of the Russian songs, the Uzbek songs, I had to try my best. A lot of the stuff is not even available written out in English. It's Cyrillic translation. So forgive me if it's not accurate or if the artist name is not accurate. YouTube and Google can only do so much in foreign languages for me. But I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'm Torgo at Torgo Entertainment. See you at the next gig log. Take care.